Roman Polanski remains a contentious figure, intertwining his cinematic legacy with a history marked by controversy. His unconventional views on relationships with younger individuals, particularly teenage girls, have drawn sharp criticism and intense debate. Polanski's openness about his preferences has often sparked backlash, raising profound ethical questions about the intersection of art, personal inclination, and societal standards. When he discussed his experience photographing girls for Vogue, his reflections illuminated a troubling gray area. He expressed an appreciation for girls in their early teens, suggesting that there was an unspoken connection or mutual attraction, which further complicates the discourse around his artistic choices. These revelations not only expose his personal philosophy, but also invite scrutiny regarding how easily lines can be blurred between mentorship, artistic expression, and inappropriate conduct. This candidness invites a critical examination of the societal implications of such perspectives, challenging audiences to confront their own values and the moral responsibilities of those in positions of influence. Roman Polanski's public declarations have fueled his reputation as one of Hollywood's most controversial figures. His open admission of being attracted to underage girls has ignited fierce debates about morality and justice, raising difficult questions about how to separate an artist's personal life from their creative work. Many critics believe that these statements and his past behaviors overshadow any artistic accomplishments he may have, making it hard to appreciate his films without considering the ethical implications. On the other hand, some supporters argue that cultural and generational differences might explain his views, though this perspective remains deeply divisive. His words have undeniably influenced ongoing discussions about power imbalances and the need for accountability in the entertainment world, highlighting how celebrity status can complicate the pursuit of justice and fairness. Roman Polanski has openly discussed his controversial preferences in various interviews, a rare admission that has made him a deeply divisive figure. His remarks about admiring young girls have sparked widespread condemnation and brought intense scrutiny to both his personal life and professional career. These statements, combined with his well-known legal troubles, have shaped a public image marked by conflict between his artistic achievements and his personal behavior. Over time, this tension has led many to question how much his actions should affect the way his work is viewed. The ongoing debates about Polanski highlight the complex relationship between an artist's creations and their private conduct, illustrating how personal decisions can overshadow even the most celebrated legacies. This situation serves as a lasting example of the challenges that arise when public admiration clashes with serious ethical and legal concerns. The legal case involving Roman Polanski is one of the most notorious scandals in Hollywood history. In 1977, Polanski was arrested and charged with unlawful conduct involving a 13-year-old girl named Samantha Gamer. This case exposed troubling elements of coercion and the use of intoxicants. The incident itself was shocking, but what made the situation even more complex was Polanski's decision to flee the United States before sentencing. This flight to Europe led to decades of ongoing legal battles and numerous attempts to extradite him back to the U.S. The case has sparked widespread public debate about justice, the influence of celebrity status, and the question of accountability. Despite the controversy surrounding his actions, Polanski has maintained support in certain artistic communities, highlighting the complicated feelings people have about his life and work. In 1977, a deeply troubling event unfolded at the home of actor Jack Nicholson, revealing a stark example of abuse of power within Hollywood. Under the pretense of a photoshoot, Roman Polanski manipulated a young and vulnerable Samantha Gamer. This manipulation involved exploitative and coercive behavior that crossed clear legal and moral lines. The incident highlighted Polanski's blatant disregard for boundaries that protect individuals from harm. Moreover, it exposed a darker reality in the entertainment industry, where those with influence and status often evade immediate consequences for their actions. The fact that this occurred in a prominent celebrity's residence further emphasized how deeply ingrained a culture of impunity was among elite circles. The public response was one of outrage, sparking important conversations about the systemic abuse that can persist in Hollywood. This episode remains a stark reminder of how power can be misused behind closed doors, affecting victims profoundly and challenging society to confront uncomfortable truths. Polanski's decision to flee the United States in 1978, just before he was to be sentenced, transformed an already scandalous case into a decades-long international legal saga. This escape exposed deep flaws in the justice system, revealing how wealth, connections, and international borders can act as shields against accountability. His flight complicated efforts to bring him to justice and sparked debates about the responsibilities of countries that harbor fugitives. The fact that Polanski has managed to avoid extradition for so long has become a symbol of how fame and privilege can distort legal processes. This ongoing situation has left a legacy filled with unresolved anger and frustration, not only for his victim but also for the wider public who have watched the case linger without closure. Despite being a fugitive, Roman Polanski has managed to keep a successful career in filmmaking. Over the years, he directed many movies that critics praised highly. Some of these films earned him top awards like the Palme d'Or and an Academy Award. This ongoing success has sparked strong debates. Many people feel that giving him such honors is like overlooking or even approving of his past wrongdoings. On the other hand, some supporters say his artistic skills should be judged separately from his personal life. They argue that his work deserves recognition regardless of his actions. However, critics believe that celebrating his films sends a message that serious legal and moral offenses can be ignored. Polanski's story shows how complicated it can be to balance art, ethics, and responsibility in the world of entertainment. Polanski's early life was shaped by intense trauma and hardship that left a lasting mark on his perspective and work. Growing up in a Jewish family in Poland during a time of great danger, he endured the horrors of the Holocaust firsthand. The loss of his mother in Auschwitz was a devastating blow, and the suffering he faced during those years was unimaginable. These experiences deeply influenced his view of the world, often reflected in the dark, complex themes of his films. His storytelling frequently carries a sense of existential fear and psychological depth, which can be traced back to the pain and fear he lived through as a child. Despite his remarkable ability to transform his painful past into compelling art, this background does not lessen the seriousness of his later actions. The combination of his tragic beginnings and his troubling behavior as an adult creates a complicated and often divisive story that continues to shape how people see him. Roman Polanski's body of work includes films like Rosemary's Baby and Chinatown, which are celebrated as some of the finest examples of cinematic storytelling. These masterpieces showcase his mastery of psychological tension, narrative depth, and visual style, earning him a lasting place in the annals of film history. Rosemary's Baby, released in 1968, is often regarded as a landmark horror film that explores themes of paranoia and motherhood, while Chinatown, released in 1974, is a quintessential neo-noir that delves into corruption and moral ambiguity in Los Angeles. Both films are noted for their intricate plots and compelling characters, demonstrating Polanski's ability to engage audiences on multiple levels. However, these achievements are often juxtaposed with his controversial personal life, raising the enduring question of whether it is possible or ethical to separate an artist's work from their actions. While his films continue to influence new generations of filmmakers, many argue that such a claim must be weighed against the moral implications of celebrating an individual whose personal conduct has caused so much harm. The discussion surrounding Polanski's legacy remains complex, as audiences grapple with the impact of his cinematic contributions alongside the troubling aspects of his life. Over the years, numerous women have come forward with accusations against Roman Polanski, alleging abuse that spans several decades. These claims suggest a troubling pattern of behavior rather than isolated incidents, revealing a darker side to his public persona. The willingness of these women to speak out has ignited important discussions about the entertainment industry's culture of silence, where powerful figures often evade accountability. This environment has allowed harmful actions to persist unchecked, highlighting serious systemic shortcomings in how abuse is addressed within Hollywood and beyond. These revelations have deeply affected Polanski's reputation, casting a long shadow over his career and emphasizing the urgent need for change in how such allegations are handled. Despite the controversies surrounding him, Roman Polanski continues to receive unwavering support from his wife, Emmanuelle Seiner, along with a small but vocal group of colleagues and admirers in the film world. They insist that his extraordinary skills as a filmmaker should not be overshadowed by his personal mistakes. Many of these supporters often point to the trauma he endured during his childhood as a reason to understand, if not excuse, his behavior. However, this defense has sparked strong criticism. Opponents argue that defending Polanski in this way promotes a harmful culture that forgives predatory actions simply because the person involved is considered a genius. This clash between those who stand by Polanski and those who condemn him highlights a larger societal debate about how far forgiveness should go, and what happens when talent is valued more than responsibility. Roman Polanski's perspectives on relationships with young girls, particularly his comments about a supposed mutual attraction with 13-year-olds, have ignited intense debate. This brings into question the ethics of his views and their impact on society's understanding of consent and age. While Polanski is regarded as a talented filmmaker, his controversial past, including a conviction for sexual offenses, complicates any discussion surrounding his philosophy. Many argue that his statements perpetuate harmful stereotypes and blur the lines between artistic appreciation and inappropriate behavior, highlighting how influential figures can shape perceptions of relationships. Critics believe that such views trivialize the seriousness of age disparities and consent laws, risking normalization of predatory behavior. Furthermore, Polanski's disclosure about his experiences photographing young girls raises troubling concerns about the vulnerability of minors in creative spaces. This dialogue compels audiences to reflect on the moral implications of artistic freedom, the responsibilities of creators, and the necessity of safeguarding the well-being of young individuals. Society must grapple with these complex issues to ensure that the protection of minors remains a priority amid the ever-evolving landscape of art,